Welcome back, everyone. I'm Jim Veneman reporting from Oregon City. Here's an example of the work that's going on to clean up after the great floods of '96. This is just an example of the backbreaking work that's going to be done to clean up all the mess that was left behind by those floodwaters. And this kind of work could be going on for months.
These were our steps. I mean, you could, if our staircase went right out here, and they just disappeared.
The Lewis River is a thief and a vandal. She stole her neighbor's clothes and hung them from the trees. What the Lewis couldn't carry with her, she destroyed with mud and water.
The water just kept coming up, and we had maybe 2 hours from the time I got out of bed and looked out the window and said we'd better start doing something. There was no warning.
Larry Rainey and his family got out when the water was waist high. After they left, the high water mark hit over his head on the first floor.
It's just a massive cleanup job. The main thing was to get the water systems and the septic systems back online, so that's been our focus right now. We're water testing now. We should have the results back by tomorrow.
Gary McDonald owns the mobile home park south of Woodland. The river swamped the whole park, 77 homes, most with 2 to 3 feet of water.
The majority of these folks, they're retired, and they're supposed to be done with this type of things going on in their life, having to get flooded out and start over in life.
It's a second flood, a flood of volunteers this time, all racing to rip the soggy guts out of the trailers and then even cut open vents to let the dry breeze air them out. At least those folks have something to salvage of their homes. Not true here. The Lewis River tore this house off the foundation and almost sucked it down the river. Somehow Gary and Joan Scott cleared the furniture out of the house before the river twisted and pulled it, timber from timber. The house barely 2 years old.
Not much you can do about it, It's just the way things happen sometimes.
Penny Petty is going back into her flood-damaged basement. There's not a lot to see downstairs except water that is still at least 3 to 4 feet deep. That's the Clackamas River outside near the place where it flows into the Willamette.
I see a lot of hard work down the drain and a lot of hard work ahead of us, so it'll work out.
Water covered not only the basement, but also Penny's living room upstairs. There is mud on the floors, the carpet is soaked, and in the bathroom a drawer moved by floodwaters rests on the toilet. Next door, Penny's neighbors are moving their dresser back downstairs. Jen and Marv Morrison cleared out their lower floor, but were not flooded. Still, it is a terrifying experience.
I honestly can say with the rage of the river, and it was just overwhelming how quickly, and the feeling you have of helplessness when you see the water coming up and not a thing you can do about it but pray.
The floodwaters still cause problems in some areas. This is the dike on the Columbia near Portland's airport. High water and waves are washing away the dirt. The Columbia continues to damage the Red Lion Hotel here. It is the one on the left of I-5 as you drive to Seattle. A few feet of water fill the lower ballroom. And just take a look at the Robinwood Public Boat Dock at West Lynn, twisted and turned by the high water. Back at Penny Petty's home, husband Tom worries not about those problems, but about the ones in his own home, and he grabs a bucket to help with the cleanup. Penny thinks about the job ahead.
He'll clean up. He'll clean up. I have great faith.
From the air, Vernonia does not look flood-scarred, but last Friday, the rampaging Nehalem River covered much of the town. The mayor estimates 60% of the homes and businesses were underwater. That's Vernonia High School, under several feet of water at the river's peak.
The ugly signs of massive flooding are everywhere. Let's take you now to the ground where Vernonians are assessing the damage.
Shy of 5 feet.
That's how high the water was in the school's wood shop, where it looks less like a flood and more like a tornado ripped through. The water tossed aside shelves, equipment, desks. The Nehalem was 2 shelves high in the library. It warped a new basketball floor. You can see how high the river rose on the mud-covered tennis courts outside.
Right about here, about 6.5, 7 feet in the garage.
Jack Greenwood lives on the only newly developed street in town, jokingly called Vernonia's Street of Dreams, now a street of nightmares, where people dig out from the worst of the Nehalem's flooding.
So we lost TV, sofa, end tables, recliners, everything. Dinette sets, All the appliances are shot, the furnace is shot.
St. Mary's Church is now a shelter where hundreds of people sleep, eat, and live. Chris Francis and Vera Hamilton were to be married tomorrow. Now all their life's plans are on hold.
God has an odd way of testing people, but it makes them stronger. That's what comes out of it.
In Vernonia, there is a monument to the high water. In the middle of town, a mountain of personal possessions ruined by the flood. And the monument grows, a patchwork testament to the flood of '96.
The tables have turned in Tualatin. Man and machine are now in control. The water's damage is being fixed.
Lights will be on, everything will be working. So that's what we want. We work your way right out over to here.
Oh, good. Officer Kevin Winfield guides traffic until all lights are on and roads open, which could be tonight.
People need to understand that there is going to be congestion, and with congestion, people are going to be become frustrated.
This whole railing right here was covered in water.
But frustration is dulled when residents recall what it was like 48 hours ago. Chris Wood says business at Izzy's Pizza is getting back to normal.
Right now, we are open. There is some limited traffic into the square here, and we just hope the business picks up.
Business will pick up when all the customers aren't so busy themselves picking up. Among the garbage left behind along Nyberg Creek, about a truckload of wood swept away from Clark's Lumber.
The lumber yard's up here about 3 blocks.
Is it pretty good shape?
Seems to be.
Lisa Southard also rushed down to the creek to recover belongings. She was alerted some of these papers had her name on them.
I'm looking for any canceled checks or important papers that we have to have that we can't replace.
Residents of Tualatin never know what garbage or what gifts the floodwaters left behind.
Welcome to my house. What's left of my house. You can see what my refrigerator looks like. Was a refrigerator.
The Gibbs lost everything on the first floor. The flood soaked the walls, submerged the appliances, even the piano. It's been in the family for 80 years. Gibbs found it floating in the floodwater.
That's heavy. I mean, it takes probably 8 guys to pick that thing up, to move it.
The Gibbs had to decide quickly what they couldn't bear to leave behind.
Photo albums, you know. We have a brand new grandbaby that's 6 months old that, you know, she's our precious, so that's what we know. All we wanted was her pictures, actually, because, you know, you don't see those memories anymore.
Cleanup. Danny Gibbs doesn't know where to begin.
Unreal.
And he's afraid to clean up before insurance adjusters see what he's lost.
I don't know what to do. Every time I come in here, I just want to cry. I don't know. But we will pull out of this. We'll make it. It might take us a while, but we'll do just fine.
Never has Lake Oswego sounded so ugly. But even in the hardest hit homes, there are some heartwarming exceptions. Like the grand piano someone lifted onto bricks. 1 foot made all the difference. The floodwaters reached right here, and the piano is fine. Better yet, there's the sweet music of human kindness.
You got it.
People helping people. Many of the flood victims don't even know who is helping them. Volunteers like these men are simply showing up and pitching in and then disappearing just as quickly. One flood victim we talked to probably speaks for thousands tonight when he sends this message.
Whoever you are, thank you very, very much.
Along with the gratitude comes valuable advice, especially about the backbreaking job of removing carpet.
Take a knife, cut your carpet up into small sections, rollable sections that you can carry, and then get them out of the house.
Do it as quickly as you can, or moisture will damage whatever's beneath the carpet.
The board just comes apart. It's turned into, essentially, back into a material almost like a toilet paper.
Jerry Wambaugh says there's another reason to get rid of it right away. He can smell sewage.
I mean, there's a tremendous amount of bacteria in this house.
And Jerry's wife, Jan, wants the carpet gone quickly for yet another reason. Her kids' spirits.
I'd rather have them look at bare floors with tacks in it and think that, oh, we're just getting new carpeting, instead of seeing wet, soaked yucky, muddy water.
So Lake Oswego is wasting no time, removing sandbags, tearing out carpet, cleaning up debris.
Everyone wants to just get in and gut it and get it done.
As we've just seen, recovering from the Great Flood of 1996 will require much more than simply wiping away all the mud. However, I must say, based on the can-do attitude, the pioneer spirit we're finding here in Oregon City, just about everyone seems willing to do even more than their fair share.
The Great Flood of '96 returns after this.